You could be crazy all you want, but you're not trying to bring your crazy to me unless I establish, hey, Joe, I'm crazy too. I don't really care about my kid right now. I want to text you about this project.
Hey everyone, it's Joe Barron, the host of Market to Me, the podcast where we're going to discuss the creative business, marketing, and deal with awesome entrepreneurs. With me today, I have the pleasure of chatting with the one and only Newark's own Iquan Worthington, who is the founder of the Artoholiks, a creative agency where he specializes in brand development. And he's worked with the likes of Scotch Porter, Mochify, Urban Burger, and many more. So let's get into it. Ike, how you doing?
Hey, what an introduction. Thanks, Joe. So animated, just like your TikToks.
Gotta keep it entertaining for the people.
Yep.
I remember we had this conversation, and it was pretty much if you're working full time and you have
Mhm.
clients on the side, as most people do, try to get freelance and all that, keep
Yes.
yourself
Yeah.
steady, whatever, creative freedom. Those are important clients, but
Right.
the most important and the biggest client that you really need to focus on is your full time.
The main piece is funding. It's the engine, right? Even if it don't fund the business, it's giving you the opportunity to not have to worry about other things. So benefits, your rent, your mortgage, your car note, like all those different things are now out of your way. So now when you turn one light off to close that job and turn another light on, you can breathe a little bit and just coast on that. And you're not running to the mailbox looking for checks over and over again. When you're on your own freelancing, you're constantly refreshing your email to see if that payment notification came through or you're checking your mailbox for that paper check. Throughout my career, like I've had the privilege of doing both several times over and over and over again. And when at the height of the Artoholiks and the agency, we had money coming in all the time. I was always walking to the bank and depositing checks. The difference is with that was that money was spent so fast because I had a staff. There were bills to pay and, all different types of things like taxes and whatnot. One day you would feel rich and then the next day you'd be back to square one. And it was like a cat and mouse game every month. But then when I moved over and started working for one of my biggest clients full time, I was able to breathe. There wasn't no race. So I was able to be selective with certain clients that I was letting come into the Artoholics door now. So saying, no to projects that I felt like would suck a lot of energy and time, and took that opportunity to work on things and carefully learn processing, like all these different things that I wanted to, get under my belt because I had the luxury of the full-time job.
That made me think of you used to have a post, or maybe it was on an Instagram story. Every Friday you'd post laptop closed till Monday, no work. Now,
Yeah.
do you think that especially with the picking and choosing your clients and doing that, do you feel that boundaries is very important to have with not only for yourself but also for like dealing with clients? Because I'm sure you have dealt with it where you've even on the full time where it's you receive emails all the time, late at night, after hours, but it feels like you're expected to.
Yeah, no, I just had a boundary conversation today. A friend of mine's got mad at me because I didn't reply to her by a certain time and she needed something. And I have this thing where I will not allow you to get on my schedule today if you weren't already on my schedule because I literally plan out every day and how I wanted to work, both workflow and personal, right? So if I got to take my kid to a doctor's appointment, that's a window shut down. If I'm working on a deadline for a presentation that I have at 4 o'clock, there's a block of hours, on lock. And whatever I have before that or after that is all mapped out. So boundaries is a big thing for me. Even when I worked full time at places, there were times where I was working with multiple departments and working on multiple different things for each department. Sales may want something website related, while product may want something straight up design related, right? And now I'm switching on my hats. But then at the same time, Slack is going off. This person wants this logo file. This person wants this person. So I just would block out hours. I would say, hey, I'm unavailable in the morning. In the morning, I literally have in my calendar, I am at the gym from like 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the morning, right? And then in the evening, when I really feel creative, I don't want to be on the phone. I don't want to go back and forth with messages. So from 4 to 6 o'clock, leave me alone, right? And I'm working as long as I want. If I'm working after hours, like if I'm working after hours, I'm working for me now. And that is making up for maybe I had a long lunch earlier. Maybe I was slow earlier. Maybe something happened. I'm working for me. When I'm working on Saturdays and Sundays, I'm working for me. That's my catch up time. That's my free brain time to work. I don't need the interference of talking to someone and whatnot unless like we are creatively collaborating, right?
Yeah.
So that's my way of holding those boundaries.
So yeah, pretty much it's your time is your time.
Right. Even when you're paying me for it, right? It's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, didn't you pay me to do this logo? Alright, leave me alone. I'm working right now. I don't need you to send me no more mood boards. I know what I'm doing. Leave me alone. I'll talk to you when we get ready to review this work."
But Ike, we got to make it bluer. We got to make it bigger.
Yeah, when we schedule that 10 o'clock call on Thursday morning.
Never. By the way, it wasn't me. Just an example. You are a serial entrepreneur. You're always doing something. You're always involved with. You always have a collaboration. You're always doing some sort of project. You're either having another business or opening up and starting something else. Always new projects going. So it's good to know that the weekend is your time to be creative if you want to, or focus on your business that's not client related.
So I wanted to go back to the shut laptop down
Yeah.
for the weekend thing, right? That's just me joking around with society, right? Like I never was that. I hate Mondays, love Fridays type of guy.
Yeah.
Up until my last full-time job, I did allow myself to get immersed in that 9 to 5 hustle culture. So I did post those as a joke. And I swear everyone would DM me and be like, why are you lying? You're gonna be working. You're gonna be working. But like you was getting to, it's now doing some of the work that I really want to do, like some passion stuff,
Yeah.
or again a side gig that's gonna pay an extra bill. But I'm also happy to. I don't view it as work on a Saturday or Sunday morning.
But there is some truth to that because it
Yeah.
is, it's you got to set boundaries. I think it's very important, and it feels like as creatives, it's always the hustle mindset, burn that midnight oil, keep going, answering everything. Even like I've know even business owners, they're just in bed midnight, about to fall asleep or whatever, and there's like this person sent me an email, got to respond right away. It just I think it's you need some sort of healthy boundaries, and that's part of it. Somebody used to have at the bottom of their signature where I'm available from this time, after hours, catch me the next morning at 9 to 5 or whatever it was.
You know what it is? The truth is, no one expects you to reply to an email at 10 or 11 o'clock. That's them getting their workout. They're saying, hey, I'm sending this. I don't expect for you to respond right now. So the secret is just not responding. You're not available, right? I don't think someone is sitting back waiting for you on Saturday at 3 unless you guys signed up for that. There has to be some kind of relationship. Like you may have created that relationship without knowing you were doing it. But I don't think people are like, you could be crazy all you want, but you're not trying to bring your crazy to me unless I establish, hey, Joe, I'm crazy too. I don't really care about my kid right now. I want to text you about this project.
Wow, let's talk about parenting skills right now. Uh, but do you think if we all take it like internally and think, hey, they're hiring us, they're paying us to do a job, we need to respond right away? Or is that just more of a junior kind of mentality? Because I still feel like it happens both if you're a senior level or even junior level, where you're like, I need to respond to this person, I need to take care of this right away. Like it's like it's some sort of fire that needs to be put out, which most cases it's not.
Yeah, see, my wife is that way where she'll tell me, "Hey, I need this done by Thursday." She's senior and she knows I'm senior. That's just her working style. She thinks that she could do that and get that. And I'm the one to say, "Hey, you're not getting it on that day. You're going to get it 2 or 3 days later." You have to obey by my schedule as well, right? And I would even tell that to my managers working at the other place. Like, I think you hired me for this role because I understand the timeline, I understand the process, I understand all of this other stuff. So you can't tell me that I'm getting this done to you on Monday because based off of everything we talked about and all these meetings that made no sense, we don't have time to get this done on Monday. I learned to just push back. Like to just push back and let people know because I think what ends up happening when you just be a yes man, eventually that manager that was running all over you
Hmm.
is admiring that other person that's coming for your neck because they do have these boundaries, they do have these systems, they do have a way of pushing back and fighting and so on and so forth. For me, I just learned like, hey, you're not being a prickly, you're not being a jerk. You're just setting a tone that, hey, if you want this done effectively, it won't get done in 24 hours. I need 48 hours or whatever it may be.
That's true. That makes sense. But but now it leads me to leads me to ask this question where you told me this earlier, where it's you take all the work, figure it out later. Is that more just like more job related, or does that also apply to this setting boundaries where like I got to take all the work because I need a promotion or I need to get the next project that's coming down the pipeline, or just
Yeah, well, that comes from more of a freelance agency POV, right? If you are a solopreneur, design business is 1 minute where you are hoping for projects, right? And then you get two or three phone calls, all three of them land, and now you got a fourth phone call. You start panicking, like, how am I going to get this done? How am I going to get this done?
okay.
What I've learned is clients don't pay on time. They don't send you what you need on time. They don't do almost anything on time. So take the work, figure it out. You'll be able to figure it out in that process. Know a design friend to be able to bail you out when times get like that. So I learned to not freak out and tell someone, "Oh, I'm not available until August." I think that's cool. We all want to say it like we all once wanted to be in a meeting until we started getting in a whole bunch of meetings. But yeah, take the work and figure it out later. Figure out how to get it done when that time comes.
Then what do you think about what do in-house teams underestimate about agencies and vice versa? Because you've been on both sides, so you know there's the pushback. They don't understand what goes into the creative, and even when you're working full time, certain departments don't even know what goes into the creative part.
Right. So that's an interesting question. That's kind of how now the story, right. Back in 2019, right before the pandemic, one of our biggest clients at the time, Mochify, a fintech startup company, was retaining us for 2 years to manage all their creative services. But then they got really busy as their stakeholders got like larger and they got a board, they needed to fill certain seats and they needed to have a creative director. So when prior to that, working with the marketing director, he was paired with us and we were almost like his creative team. But he was obviously outsourcing. Once he brought us on, the thought would be we could handle all the things that we were handling. And now we have the intel to be able to work with other vendors when we needed stuff. So when it came down to shooting video, doing a photo shoot, any kind of print, any kind of setup for events and stuff like that, their leadership team don't have to worry about that because they do have an in-house team to do that. The thought process is basically, I don't know why you would rather have a whole team on your staff versus just using an agency. I would think that an agency would be more cost effective. You're not paying taxes and on every dollar and so on and so forth. But in that case, they just needed to fill those seats at those early beginnings.
Got it. So you had to fill that seat that came together, and then you filled the role, and then they
I'm sorry, I lost the point. I do know why. The reason why a company like that would then go back and now start hiring agencies is because now, again, you have a creative team that understands the lingo,
Mhm.
that knows how to work with agency heads and so on and so forth, but may not be as talented as the agency may have. The agencies are built to acquire and have and house a
Yeah.
bunch of great talent or have access to hiring great talent. So for me, I have my limitations as a designer, as a creative director. But if I have the budget, I can now go to this agency and say, "Hey, I need Joe. I need a Joe to be able to do this because we can't do this, but we need this type of deliverable for this campaign."
Got it.
That makes sense?
Yes, yes.
I feel
And so
like
that
we went all around the world with that one.
With agencies specifically, it's they're the extra, they're the hired gun, but
Mhm.
they're the professionals. They should know everything. Now,
Right.
which, and by the way, he hired me for a Mogify project one time. Anyway, but have you felt any pushback from either being the agency that's being hired from the marketing team or being from the inside where you are the inside hiring out?
Nah, because in most cases, for companies that we worked with as an agency, they were happy to have, I call it the cool kids, right? Like we're always the cool kids. You have again, you have your techie folks, you have your business savvy folks, and so on and so forth. So now we're walking in, hats on backwards, cool, colorful sneakers and stuff like that. And we could just do these things that no one else in the building can do. And then vice versa. I've been on the other side where it's like, hey, I have my limitations. I could manage the logos. I can manage the content that we have. I can manage the website and update the website and add a photo to it. But I have a consumer DSLR. I don't think this is going to do the job for the photos that we need for this campaign. Let's go hire a real photographer. Let's work with this agency to produce the shoot for us because all of those shoots that we did in house and stuff like that, that got us over the hump. That got us that round of funding. But now we're playing big boy games. We want to get on TV. We want to do these things. We got to work with real production houses. And we need to connect with agencies that know these production houses, have the relationships, know how to work with them, know how to get paid, pay them, do all that other stuff, and it's just cheaper to do that from a small business POV.
I've heard from people where they felt that they were clashing with the outside agency coming in because they felt that the in-house creatives should be able to take over and handle all the stuff versus, but maybe they didn't have funds or the budgets. It's always interesting to hear how other people's perspectives, how it's
To
not
me, in that
confrontational.
case, that sounds like someone isn't keeping it real, right? It's basically saying, hey, we have you guys here, but we want to work with these guys over here because we want to see something new. We want to see something fresh. We want to see something different. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I've learned, and I'm okay with, like, again, I'm in touch with my limitations.
Hmm.
If you go into Pinterest right now, Behance, there's a bunch of stuff that just look different, that look cool, look way cooler than yours, but they will probably look at yours and say that theirs look way cooler than theirs, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes it's just a creative refresh. I want to see something different. I want a new take on this whatnot. Your work has gotten us again over the hump several years. We're using you now as a game manager, right? So it's like we're gonna work with Joe because Joe do his illustrations this way. Once Joe is done with them, we want you to take them and disperse them on social, on a website, and so on and so forth. So it's just about knowing your role and your ego and understanding that unless like you're this super creative that can do everything, that you're not going to get every single project that comes up
And
depending on where you work.
do you think people don't check their ego at the door as much as they should?
I'm not sure. I can't speak for anyone else. I've dealt with some folks who definitely had serious ego issues. Just last year, I dealt with a person, but when really getting to understand why she had an ego issue, it was because she felt like she got the short end of the stick multiple times. So sometimes as creatives are looking for our home run. We're looking for our Super Bowl, our chance, right? Like everyone wants to be able to design something that's going to go on a billboard or that's going to, be seen by thousands of folks. So when you're skipped over or someone else is getting credit for your work, I could see why an ego would come into play there. But it's really all about understanding the why behind the decisions that are being made by whoever's in charge.
So pretty much it's strategic. Everything has to be part of the strategy, whether it's the marketing strategy, the brand strategy, the sales strategy, because everybody's working as a team.
Right. So now we're getting into leadership, right? If I don't know if like folks who are watching this are into sports, but there's certain positions in each sport that are ego heavy. So a wide receiver in football, they
Hmm.
want the ball, right? T.O. is notorious. Throw me the damn ball. Most receivers are prima donnas. They're electric. The personality matched with that position. It's just, I need the ball. I need to I'm on TV, I'm dressed, I'm here. What good am I if I don't have the ball in my hand, right? That's just how they are. So you need the quarterback, you need the coach to constantly check that ego. So now you're bringing it back to agency. Designers may have an ego. We're designing stuff that is supposed to go out into the world. So
Yep.
if you tell me that now and I got to sit on a bench because Joe is better than me at color theory, you got to explain that to me in a sense of where as though I understand that. Was I at this place before Joe? When Joe was hired, was I told and am I under the understanding that Joe was brought in because he's a color specialist and he understands color theory and stuff like that. Now that I know that, I know, okay, I work with shapes and all this other stuff. Joe is going to color them. So now in this presentation, Joe is getting piece of the credit because he can color better than me. If I know that, if the manager took the time to explain that to me, that helps me check the ego.
Do you think managers aren't doing that enough?
Again,
Or,
I can't speak for folks, but I guess I
I mean,
guess
from what you've
it,
seen,
it it depends, right? Okay, so my position at Mochify, my manager, he never really worked with a creative team. So he may not have known that he do have to speak to me a certain way or shift things a certain way or look at things a certain way. He don't have that experience. Versus if I took on that role and I'm managing multiple creatives, I understand that I got to do a little bit of massaging and back rubbing and stuff like that because designers can be a little temperamental and big headed when it come down to our work.
it does feel like some people just either they're too busy or they just don't want to help others grow, or they're just, hate to say
Yeah,
it, they're just a
sometimes it's
bad
too
leader.
busy, sometimes it's not knowing, but that's why you're good at this. You're good at going to all the different conventions and signing up for the different webinars and stuff like that. That's why they have these leadership webinars and whatnot to, teach you how to look at these things, right? Like, okay, yeah, you're the boss, but this person isn't your child. And even if they were your child, would you would you speak to your child this way? Would you just expect your child to handle things this way? Or would you speak to them and teach them how to cope with this information and so on and so forth, right? Like it's the same thing that needs to go on in a healthy work culture,
Right? Yeah.
And that's the key word, right? Culture. What is your culture like? Do you want to make people in your office happy? Do you want to make them feel like they're thriving? Do you want to make them feel like they're part of a team and not, the cliche thing that is just the I? Like that some people are, like you said, are too busy to think about those things because they feel like, hey, it's 9 o'clock, we gotta go to work. They're
Yep.
not worried about managing personalities and energy and stuff like that, you know?
There's yeah, when when you're leadership, it's managing all the different personalities is a little bit difficult just to because you got to somebody's having a bad day, but you got to help this other person who's new or whatever.
Yeah, now see, like, I don't really care about your bad day, suck it up, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's not my job as a manager to worry about your bad day unless something in the office created that.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
and when
Yeah,
I say I don't care, it doesn't mean that I don't care that you have a bad headache or anything like that, but one thing I hear you keep trying to say is, like, how much energy should I be putting into employees versus getting my work done? But at the same time, it's an office culture. I do want to care. I do wanna make the office as light as possible for folks. I don't want folks competing and fighting. I want us to be a team.
yeah.
So yeah, so it's,
It's a juggling act.
yes.
Yeah, because it's a team. Like one thing, whether someone's hiring or or looking for a job or whatever, or even just like being part of a team, it's always like it's always a good question to ask. What's the culture like? What's working there like? Just so you understand what you're getting into. I mean, they're gonna lie to you and say it's all groovy, but I've also been in I've been interviewed where I've asked that and they were like, "Oh, it was bad before. We're trying to replace that," and they're just trying to
Mhm.
retweak the whole team and everything. So it's always good to just see everybody's different style and what they're looking for. But let's give a little palate cleanser. It was a little heavy, right? You're always involved in the community. That's you find a way to always be involved, and you were
Mhm.
part of the flag football, and you get to play. You got to play, even sometimes go against your sons, which is always
Yeah,
must be fun, especially in school. Them like, nope, I'm still your dad.
yeah.
And show that old man strength. Not saying you're old, but just you know what I mean, dude. Anyway, aside from the health benefits, do you feel like it just kind of like clears your head and like help solve work problems, or you just
Yeah,
this
so
is
so
private time?
one, just a football junkie. So when I was introduced to this group back in 2018, it was just like an outlet, like, "Oh, I could go play, I could go run around." Stayed with the group for a few weeks, and what I loved about it the most was that all of these guys were, like, guys who were, like, career guys, right? Like, they all, like, had these jobs, and we would talk about work, we would talk about the week, they were parents and all that whatnot, right? And what I cared the most was that they cared about safety. Everybody wanted to go to work without a black eye or a broken limb on Monday morning, right? And now you fast forward, now I'm the owner of the group. Like that kind of like landed in my lap last year. In the last couple of years, we put on summer tournaments, which has been fun. I got an opportunity to brand the group.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, like so every summer we do a new t-shirt concept for the tournament and do some creative with that. And to just answer your question, um, there's a few things out of it, right? Like it's community, it's camaraderie with the guys, it's management because I'm one of the older guys there and we have so many young guys, they look up to us, they admire us, they admire the structure that we have for the group. You know, you got to RSVP by a certain time, you got to show up by a certain time. It's very well structured, right? And yes, it clears my mind. I scored a touchdown on Saturday morning, and all of a sudden, all the problems that I had in this week kind of disappear. So that's a great question. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no, it feels good, right?
Yeah.
It's it's something, yeah, because I know you're a health freak, or you're health conscious.
Yes.
It's like you're
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
jogging, always working, having a trainer just beat you down, do more
Hmm.
push-ups, pull-ups, yada yada yada.
Yeah, man. I
And then
want to
like,
live.
yeah, exactly, right. And it's cool that you were able to do the branding. So it's like, is it just you done? Is it the branding for the league, or you just every time you have a special event, you just like, hey, I'm the creative on this one. I'll hook it up.
Yeah, no, it was just the branding for the group. You know, when like I said, when I got there, it was just a couple of guys doing it for fun, and I went there and I legitimized it. You know, as much as I possibly could. During COVID, you know, with us having to stay in, we needed folks to uplift and direct and bring guys back out, you know, and keep everyone together. So me and one of the other group members, we really did that, and we took respective parts of the group and owned those things. It just so happens that I'm a marketer, I'm a designer, so
Yeah,
I took that part of it, and that's how we maintain a group while having fun at the same time.
that's always fun. That's always good. And like, and you've mentioned that they're all career guys. Have you been able to like? I know you're hanging out and creating a camaraderie with them, but like, have you felt that you've gotten leads through them at some point?
Yeah, yeah, no. Always, I'll turn some stuff away, like I'll the funny thing about our business is folks don't understand that it's a real business. So folks will be like, "Hey, I need a t-shirt for this event on Saturday." And I'm like, not worth my time. But I've hired folks from my group, like one of our guys, he did my basement bathroom. Yeah, so he did some remodeling and design work in my house. Trying to think of another a thing that happened.
But
But
either
yeah,
way,
we're all supportive of each other.
I mean, that's good because it's all about you're just making more connections, creating more touch points with different people, just expanding your network. I mean, that's really what everyone's trying to do when you're out on your own hustling or whatever. You're just always looking for connections, but you also don't want to be too salesy in a sense. Like you don't want to
Yeah,
or come off desperate.
right,
You want to have a legit relationship with somebody and like be, hey, we're cool. And it was like, oh, by the way, I know somebody who needs a website, or I need, can you
right.
do the branding? Like so it was like, yeah, no problem. It's just good to always expand your network because again,
100.
when you have someone remodel or whatever, it's
Yeah.
so it's just something that I was always thinking in the back of my mind, and it's just about building the community. And like I said earlier, you're always working on projects, whether it's the money social, which for those that don't know, he had the Artoholiks hosted an event where it was you would take a kid robot money blank and then create it and customize it, and it was kind of just more. It was a social event. He happened a couple times where you just create, you draw, you hang out with cool people. It doesn't even matter if it looked good or not. It was just about
Right.
building the community. And you've done that with various events. You've held, networking events, or maybe you and your wife did, and you had the office hours. Is it just like that? And is it the building a culture around you super important where you want to be so invested in the communities? Like
I think what ends up happening is you like you alluded to, you connect with this person, you connect with that person. One of the networking events that
yeah.
you're referencing is someone who, called to use office hours. Office hours is a co-working spot that my wife and I opened up a few years ago. She called and was like, "Hey, I need a place to record some live videos, some Instagram lives." She came in and she was just starting her candle business at the time. And in a juxtaposition with her candle business, she was also doing networking so that she could simultaneously let people know about the business that she was setting up here in Union, New Jersey. So by her doing that and then being familiar with the space, like it just turned into this collaboration. So you mentioned the money socials. The
Yeah.
money socials, those were born out of me designing those toys, but then having good relationships with the restaurants that allowed us to host those things. So being cool with a restaurant owner, I learned that you need to get people in on a boring Saturday afternoon. I'm like, "Hey, I got a bunch of people that want to paint with me. They've been asking me to paint one for them. I don't want to paint one for them. So I have them paint their own thing here at your restaurant. They pay to get a toy, they pay to get food, and we all sit and draw and paint together, and while at the same time supporting this restaurant." So most of the stuff in my career came by just being open enough to expand the relationship that I've had with folks. So you hired me to design a t-shirt for you, but now that turned into so much more. I think even me and your relationship turned from us just meeting at a sneaker con or some like that
We first met
to
at a Johnny Cupcake pop-up shop. We just happened to be
right.
at the back of the line waiting our turn, and we just started talking.
And that was like 2007 or something like that. That's kind of like how my career shaped itself. Even like I've never really applied for a job. I
Okay.
just always found myself connected to employment, and that's a testament to being talented, to being open, to, some subtle networking, right? Like I stay in the mix
But
some way, somehow.
an extrovert? Would you say you're an extrovert?
I I like to think that I'm a introvert, but I have these extrovert, qualities.
Yeah, because if falling into jobs or falling into gigs or whatever, it feels like
I
it's
stay
like
around
more.
enough, like again, after the 30-minute mark, you saw that I just started yarning. So my extrovert battery is dying.
It's exhausting. It's dying out. Okay. You got to give yourself a pat on the shoulder for anyone who, like yourself, just been able to just network and be able to get out of your comfort zone and just build that network where you could just
I'm still
fall
trying to figure out if it's that or if there's just no other good talent around.
I don't know, but yeah,
Either way, I'm lucky.
that gives
Yeah.
you a leg up, right? So we've discussed this back and forth on Instagram. There seems to be the popular trend of designers, quote unquote, fixing
Oh my
designs
god.
or brands.
My god.
Do you think that it is probably the wrong term to be using it, and do you think it's just to kind of rage bait people to respond and create some sort of engagement, hoping that somebody legitimate would find their work, be appreciative, and hire them for
Mhm.
X amount of project, whatever they're fixing. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, I think it's just it plays into it's in the box of being unauthentic on social media, right? Like
Yeah.
most social media clicks is doing some wow factor to get likes. I don't think that you have to say, "Hey, let me fix the Nike logo to show you how talented I am and how good I am at doing something." I don't think I need to do that. I think I could just literally be myself, be cool, wear my hat backwards, design something dope that you like, and you're like, "Hey, I want to hire this person." So for me, purpose, and I'm still trying to figure out if I'm a crazy person for this, but I'd much rather work with startups. I'd much rather say, "Hey, Joe came to me with this concept. He wanted to work on it. He had some money. He had these other partners, and they trusted me to help them with packaging and design. And in a year's time, maybe 2 years' time, they made $1 million. And by the third year, they're in Target and Walmart and all that other stuff." I'd much rather do that than just be some person who got to use a Nike brand guideline and put something in some place like a robot, right?
Yeah.
That's always been my thing. I don't know. I find it difficult to like folks like that. Like it's like, yo, just be you, do your own thing. Like you don't have to stunt in front or any of that. I like to think I'm just really motivated by being authentic.
Authentic is key. I think it's especially In the world of AI, it's kind of, being human and being yourself is important, is being key. And then, well, since I've just happened to mention it, the let's get a hot take here. Let's get a
Okay.
Iquan hot take, man. Let's
Mhm.
get it. You told me that AI isn't your enemy.
Alright.
Explain.
It's a tool just like everything else. Technology decades and decades and decades, right? Like when we think about just 19th was it which isn't really that far. What folks were able to do then compared to something in the 19 it probably ruffled some feathers. Like, man, like back in our day, we ain't have to do this, we ain't have to do that. We would walk, we would do this, we would do that. But it benefited. It made more money, right? Then fast forward to 2000, internet, phone, and all that stuff come out, right? Made things better. And now we 2020, AI, better technology with smartphones, applications and stuff like that. It just made things better. I'm able to produce so much work now, so much faster, thanks to AI, without me cheating or giving any of my clients any watered down stuff. Because I just used the word being authentic,
Mhm.
but then I also feel like you have to have integrity. I'm
Yeah.
not going to charge a client money, thousands of dollars for a logo and then use AI to produce the logo. But what I will use AI for is like, hey, remind me of what colors best represents of financial institutions. And now that helps me think about what colors I should be using for this project, right?
Yeah.
Hey, can you recommend some fonts that I should be using? Now I'm gonna look at the recommendation and make a decision on, hey, I like what you served up, or nah, these don't really work. It's not what I'm going for. So it's basically just like talking to my friend right here, like, hey, do you think I should use navy blue or green? But I'm gonna get a faster answer just by Googling
Yeah.
versus just Googling it. So that's how I'm using AI. I don't use AI to create images or any of that stuff. That's just not my work
You're saying you're not
style.
you're not an AI artist?
I'm not an AI artist.
What you said is pretty much true, is in the fact that it's just a tool. It should be an assistant. Do you feel that people who are upset about it, aside from like maybe the concern of it using so much energy and destroying our water, or whatever, that it's like, they're just purists, that they need to be like, I need to be 100% in. I need my caffeine. I need to drink everything, and I gotta be focused on the screen or type it out, and I have to like let them know that this is all me. You're getting all me. You're paying all me.
Excuse my ignorance, but I didn't even know that that was a conversation that people are going that deep. But I do know, and I just went through something with the coffee shop next door where they for 20 years been hiring creatives, including myself.
Hmm.
They hire musicians, all this other stuff. They did a flyer for an event that they have, and they did use AI, and people went crazy over it. The truth is, folks who's getting mad about not getting hired because folks are using AI don't realize your ass wasn't getting hired anyway. Nobody wanted to pay you.
So I've had this conversation, with other people, and it's like, it's so true. Like, so a coffee shop is a mom and pop shop. I
Right.
imagine, right? So
Exactly.
like,
Yes.
dude, you're thinking too small. You think that the mom and pop, the bodega, the corner store, like, you think that all those little tiny shops is going to have, enough money to pay you an actual creative, your actual professional price, even if it's discounted very low, aside from, somebody like a startup, or, a mid-sized business, where they can afford it. I mean, the flip side to that is that you see big corporations using it, but they're getting such a backlash because it's just poorly done. People are getting upset. I mean, it's a tool. Like, yes, it's AI slop. It's garbage. There is improvements. There's going to be something that where you're going to have to actually learn how to operate it. You're going to have to, I mean, you should learn how to at least know how to use it where it's
Mhm.
effective for you. But I don't think it should take off your creative ability. I mean, you're still being hired for your mind. You just using that
Right.
as a, like you said, I need colors. I can't think of the colorways. Maybe you don't have the chance to. Maybe it's snowing outside where you can't get yourself to the library, or you don't have the book in your bookshelf where it has
Right.
so many references. You know what I mean?
Or I'm underpaid. You're not paying me to go to a library. So
Yeah.
I could get it from ChatGPT with my $10 subscription real fast. So, because there's some things that are just true, right? Like you want me to arm you with something that you could use forever and that could go on to make you a lot of money and you can't pay. Well, I do need tools to help expedite my process, right?
Yeah.
But again, I would just say as long as you're doing things with integrity and trying to go about it the right and most professional way. Like I don't think a client is going to be upset with me and be like, "Oh, you cheated me because you used AI to pick the perfect colors for this brand book that I like."
Dude, I think at the end of the day, the clients don't care as long as it's like clear. It doesn't end up any legal action on them,
Right.
and you deliver what they asked for.
Right.
Or maybe I'm wrong on that part. I think it's they want their product. You got to do it. I think
Yeah.
you have to be. I think you have to be open about it if you use AI for a client, and you have to see where they stand because some
Yeah,
companies don't want
I
it.
think that matters. I think if your deliverable is solely AI output. I do think that that's garbage, unless to your point, the client hired you to do such thing. I had a friend of mine's. He was working with a product. I think it was like a dog collar, and he knew AI so well that he was able to take this dog collar and put them on dogs, and it created the content that they needed to raise the funding to get this product made. So to me, in that example, that's starting out, you don't have a ton of dollars to, and that's what I meant by they wasn't hiring you anyway, right? Like
No.
you the photographer that's upset that they used AI to capture these dogs as models. They wasn't hiring you anyway because they didn't have the money. We used stock images forever. We had our buddies draw stuff for us forever. So I just hate some of the argument, the entitled argument of it's taken away from me. Like you don't know that it's taken away from you. Just keep doing you. You'll get hired. If you're talented, if you're well connected and stuff like that, you'll get the work that you're supposed to get. All this stuff creates distraction and divide sometimes.
We're about wrapping it up. I got what I like to call the rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Just think real quick. I'm going to ask you questions. You tell me what you thought. All right. Real quick. Mac or PC?
Mac.
Of course. I know that. I'm just gotta ask, man. Illustrator, Photoshop, or Procreate?
Illustrator.
Ooh. Illustrator or Affinity?
Illustrator.
Ooh. Someone's on Adobe's bandwagon.
I'm just old.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's
That's the
hard.
theme of the show. I'm just old.
I'm just
Title with that.
old.
Yeah.
I heard Danny Glover was what I think 41 or 42 years old when he
Come on,
started
you can't
sharing.
stop the rapid fire.
I'm sorry. He's rapid fire. Rapid fire. Serif or sans serif?
Oh man. A sans serif.
Black and white or full color?
Black and white. You can see everything sharply.
Print design or web design?
Oh.
Ooh. It's kind of hard. The two different mediums are. It's
Yeah, I'm not good at print, so I'm going to go web, but
okay.
I appreciate print. If I was good at print, I would say print. I appreciate having print in my hand, but I can't do it that well because I suck at color and I'm too lazy to figure out Pantones and CMYK and all of that crap. So using RGB and a hex code works for me.
Fair enough. Whether I always wanted to ask this whenever I had my own show, and it is, what is your favorite curse word?
Can I have two? And damn.
And damn, would you? Ooh, nowadays, would you? Do you? It feels like damn isn't considered a curse word.
Right. So then,
It's very expressive.
so can you do me a favor at the end of this podcast? Can you do like an outro of me saying with an echo at the end of it? Like, and it just end?
I like asking this to people because it kind of lets me know their type of personality.
Okay.
Your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Yeah. Raphael.
That's so weird. It doesn't match the personality. The theory's wrong.
So let me be honest. I'm that one graphic designer that's not into comic books.
Okay.
I do love cartoons, but I'm not a cartoon enthusiast. So I just guessed he got the coolest name. I don't know their personalities.
Oh, he's usually the grumpy one.
Okay. I am grumpy. What are you talking about?
You're not this whole conversation. We chill. I mean, yeah, you have grumpy moments, but that's because everyone has grumpy moments.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm more of a, like, a Looney Tune and Charlie Brown, Saturday morning cartoon guy.
All right. Bugs or Daffy?
Oh, Bugs all day.
Okay. Porky Pig or Foghorn Leghorn?
I hate both of them, but Frog, Horn, Leghorn.
Ah, and now let's finish out with what's the type of music that you like to work to?
Man. So, for me,
That you usually work to. I mean, because it
that I
always
usually
changes.
work to,
Yeah.
I'm really big into, like, Selection Radio. That's originated through SoundCloud, and they blew up and got onto Apple Music, and basically they just play music from all over the world. A lot of it is like instrumental, is
Hmm.
beats. I like listening to beats because most of the time they send positive, uppity vibes. It's not lo-fi. I don't want lo-fi. Lo-fi put me to sleep, but I don't want to hear words. So while I do love hip hop, I don't really want to hear, I can't focus on the lyrics and all that other stuff because my brain is in Illustrator somewhere. So yeah, so to answer your question, I'm just listening to the beats generation.
Dope, dope. And so, art is dope is something that you put on a T-shirt, and it's fantastic. I think everyone should keep that in their head. Dope, art is dope. And now, Mike, is there any final words you want to share to the good people?
Yeah, this year, I have big plans to do a lot more dope is art stuff. So I plan on drawing on everything. Like so I have a bunch of stuff in the studio here like skateboards, chairs that I no longer need and I'm going to make art of them and then just be throwing them onto my website. Every day I'm doodling.com and just start selling stuff, auctioning stuff. You just mentioned the Artist Dope t-shirt. I haven't sold a t-shirt in years. So none of this is to make money and I'm not turning down no money, but it's more so just to get back into the practice of creating again outside of graphic design. I just want to get back into fine art and just creating dope stuff. Over the years, I really got into the plants and interior design and stuff like that. So mostly everything I will create will have something to do with will be something that could live in the home, in your studio, at your desk, in your office somewhere. So it's more like, I'm going in the home goods lane with some of the art projects. So um taking the doodles, taking some of my graphic design skills, taking my fine art brain and putting it on stuff and selling it, and just getting it out the studio. That's what I want to do. And maybe an art show to showcase some of this stuff, show what's been going on in my head over the last couple of years, but that's what I'm locked into doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's something I've also wanted to do for myself, is just create more art. I feel like, I feel like it's a lot more admin stuff and trying to sell yourself, and there's less creativity going into it, unless the project, really full. Obviously the project needs it, but it feels like it's not there. So it's good to hear
Mhm.
that you're doing that. And I mean, you've done stuff like that, like with your own pop-up shop. And that was a fun little day where you had your apparel and, you had different artwork going
Yeah,
on
that was great. Yeah.
with the DJ in the background.
Mhm.
That was, it was a fun. So it's always, like I said, it's always interesting to see you build some sort of community, and this is just another lane for you. It just, it's all about just
My
making art.
biggest thing, what you're saying that, and I thank you so much for reminding me of all of, wonderful work, I've had privilege of doing. It's just this, like, I want to focus on following through, right? Like
Mhm.
having a good year that connects to the next year, that connects to the next year, and so on and so forth. So with the money social, why did I stop that? Why did I only do three? Right? Was doing urban exploring. Why did I stop that? I was doing content before content was really a
Yeah,
thing.
you were really going at it. Like, if you guys wanna look on YouTube, you could actually search the stuff. He had good content. We created some fun videos. I think I put one on my
Yeah.
channel, but, it's still it's pretty cool. I know it's something that I always enjoy seeing what you do, and it makes
Mhm.
me think on how can I apply something that you did with my own work, but with, like, my own style, with my own lane, not copying you, but, like, just use that as
Yeah.
some sort of inspiration.
Yeah. So that's in the pipeline this year. Just create more, follow through, finish. Like I'm really really good at starting, but like this year I want to finish some stuff.
I mean, aren't all creatives really good at starting?
Yes. I mean, I know people who don't start. They talk about the idea. They write it down. They talk about it, but they don't start. So you kind
Bro,
of got to give
so
yourself some credit for starting.
so you know how long I've been talking about doing a podcast? Remember
Yeah.
it was like almost 10 years ago or whatever
Uh-huh.
where we had this conversation. We even had we briefly even had a conversation of doing something together, and it just never expanded. And I just all of a sudden I just had to create market to me as the as kind of an extension of Brandon Barron, but see where it
So how
goes.
many episodes do you plan? I'm about to creative direct at you right now. I'm about to treat you like
A client.
like a young student coming in here.
Okay.
How often do you plan on putting a video out?
All right. The goal is to not be put out enough where it burns me out. So I'm not doing it every week.
Just it's rapid fire.
Okay.
We're about to do some work. We're about to do what's our guy name from YouTube?
All right.
God is a
Oh,
designer. Okay, so we're about to have a crypto thing, right?
interact. All right. All right. All right.
Okay.
Let's do the future. All right.
So
Let me take
so
my salty
so
water.
how many weeks is there in a year?
52.
Let's divide 52 by 2.
Okay. 52 by 2 equals, 26. That's how 26
That's
plus 26.
26. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Roughly.
have to create 24 videos. That's what it is. You have to create 24 videos this month. I mean, this year.
Yeah. That's what you're thinking.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. That's not a lot. Yeah. So we'll have I will do part 2 of my video with you in June. Okay. So based off my math, that will be show 11 through 13, right?
Hmm.
So I'll be a guest again on 11 through 13.
Do you want to be lucky number 13?
It doesn't matter to me. And then I will make another appearance on show 24.
Now, look at this, everybody. He's a recurring guest.
And I'm writing it in my notebook and
All
it's
right.
dated.
Eh,
It's dated, right?
Yeah.
So this is what we're gonna do because I'm all about accountability. See, I
Dude,
did
one thing
what
yeah.
we talked about earlier in the show,
Yeah.
leadership, right? I just created a SMART goal with you.
And no, I mean it's important. And one thing I've shared, and I think I shared on most of my socials is accountability. Like you need an
Yep.
accountability buddy to keep you pushing, keep you striving to move forward. If you're slacking, they're gonna light the fire in your ass and keep you going. Like, hey, you're messing up. You're starting off a good thing. Keep it going because everybody's gonna get stagnant at one point. They're gonna hit a plane, and you just kind of have to need that extra push to go up, 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 and reach the goal that you want. So
Hmm.
it's a good thing. Yeah, I mean that's important. I think for everybody. I mean, it's also important for you because it keeps you like, hey, it keeps you accountable to be accountable on me, and it makes you realize, hey, I got to be on his show again. I got to do this, and we're gonna chat, and we can discuss
We go from there.
from there. Exactly. What's your social that people can follow? What's your website? All the contact info that if they want to reach and follow you.
You can find me personally where I only post that at Iquan, IQUANW on Instagram. And then if you do want to take a peek at some of the work that I may have done for the Artoholiks, that is the Artoholiks, TheArtoholiks on Instagram.
Dope. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Iquan, I thank you for being a guest on here, and I look forward to chatting with you on here again. All
All
right.
right, man.
Peace,
Yeah, see
everybody.
you at show 13.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.